Happening now, breaking news. A jury says conspiracy theorist Alex Jones should pay $965 million to families of the victims of the Sandy Hook school massacre. This hour, we're getting new reaction from those families about the verdict and the impact of Jones's lies about the shooting. Also tonight, Russia launches new mass casualty missile strikes in Ukraine as the U.S. and NATO scramble right now to beef up Ukrainian air defenses. I'll ask White House National Security official John Kirby about the administration's response to Vladimir Putin's new provocations. And we're also learning more about tomorrow's January 6th hearing and new evidence that will be presented. The Select Committee poised to argue that former President Trump remains a clear and present danger to democracy in America. Welcome to our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Let's get right to our top story. A Connecticut jury's massive judgment against Alex Jones for spreading lies and conspiracies about the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. For more on the jury's decision, let's bring in CNN Correspondent Alexandra Field. Alexandra, the jury says Jones should pay families of the victims nearly $1 billion in damages.
Wolf, if ever there could be a win for families who have suffered as profoundly as these families had from the loss of their loved ones and the decade of torment that has followed, this marks that win. It is a seismic moment, a huge award of nearly $1 billion being awarded to 15 plaintiffs in the case, 14 of them family members who lost their beloveds on that dark day. One of them, an FBI agent who responded to the scene. They sat huddled together in the courtroom, embracing one another, holding hands at time, weeping into their hands at time as they heard what the jury had decided. Again, nearly $1 billion in compensatory damages for the suffering that came to these families as the result of lies spread by InfoWars host Alex Jones, who had said that the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary was a hoax, that the family members who lost their loved ones were crisis actors. They spent weeks testifying about the pain and the harassment that they endured from those who believed the lies. Robbie Parker, who you're seeing on screen, was given the largest sum of money, awarded the largest sum of money from the jury, $120 million. He lost his 6-year-old daughter, Elie, at Sandy Hook. He testified in some of the most poignant moments of this trial that he felt that he had failed his young daughter in life by sending her to school, and that he had then failed her in death by not being able to stop the lies and the misinformation surrounding her death and her young life. He spoke tearfully after the verdict was read outside the courtroom.
The families that I've been associated with for 10 years through this tragedy are the most beautiful people you'll ever encounter, and their children and their moms and their wives are the most beautiful people you could ever get to know. All I can really say is that I'm just proud that what we were able to accomplish was just to simply tell the truth. And it shouldn't be this hard, and it shouldn't be this scary.
A long-fought battle, if ever there was one. This is a suit that started back in 2018. Of course, the suffering certainly predates that. Wolf, what was so moving in this trial was seeing the way that these families banded together, sitting with each other every day, embracing one another, being there to support one another. And this is something that they are sharing in together tonight.
Alex Jones was not in the courtroom. He was live on the air, Alexandra, when the verdict came in. What was his reaction?
He was not in the courtroom. Really, to no one's surprise, he had made it pretty clear that he wasn't going to be there. He never testified in his own defense. He has spent his time deriding this process, often calling it a kangaroo court. He mocked the decision today, and he made it clear while streaming that he doesn't have the money to pay these families. His attorney did speak out on his behalf after the decision was read.
We live in divided times. They've been weaponized and used for political purposes in this country, in my view. And today is a very, very, very dark day for freedom of speech.
The Jones team now saying, of course, that they will be appealing this decision, Wolf.
Alexandra, I want you to stay with us. I also want to bring in CNN legal analyst Paul Callan and our senior legal analyst, Elie Honig. Elie, this is a very, very powerful, significant victory for these families. What do you make of this decision, this verdict?
Well, Wolf, it's a monumental verdict. It's a massive verdict. It's a statement verdict. Alex Jones attacked these innocent victims with knowing intentional lies, and this jury sent a message that you cannot do that without paying the price. I think it's also worth noting, Wolf, that this was a careful verdict. The jury didn't just give some blanket standard fee to every plaintiff here. They went very carefully through the evidence, gave different awards plaintiff by plaintiff. That will help this verdict stand up perhaps on appeal. It shows that the jury considered the evidence carefully and dispassionately for each plaintiff individually.
You know, Paul, the jury just awarded, as we noted, nearly $1 billion in damages to these families. But Jones says, and I'm quoting him now, he says there, quote, ain't no money. Will these families actually receive any of the damages owed to them?
Well, that's a good question, Wolf, but I have to say this award may well be the largest award for this kind of a case in American history. But collecting it, of course, will pose difficulties. Now, there was testimony during the trial that his company generated income in excess of $100 million over the course of a period of years. Remember, what he would do was he would perpetuate this hoax, the hoax that crisis actors were playing the victims at Sandy Hook, that there weren't any real victims, to get people to listen to him on the radio so he could sell supplements and other products. He'll certainly be put out of business, and whatever money he made in the past that's still available will be securable. And by the way, judgments are usually enforceable for up to 20 years, so this judgment will haunt him for the rest of his life.
Certainly will. And Alexandra, punitive damages are yet to be determined, right?
Right. This is just the start. These were the compensatory damages. There are the punitive damages. The jury decided that, yes, he should pay punitive damages. It will be up to the judge to determine what that amounts to. These are this is an award that will cover the legal fees, the attorney's fees. So that's something that the judge will determine at a later date during a hearing. And there are also additional damages that could be paid for violating Connecticut's Unfair Trade Practices Act that the judge will be determining as well down the line.
And Elie, Jones, as you know, is already vowing to appeal this verdict. So where does all this go from here?
Sure, he certainly will appeal. He may get the amount reduced somewhat on appeal, but of course, I don't think he'll get it thrown out entirely. Wolf, it's really important to know, Alex Jones is telling his fans, who he's soliciting money from, donate to me, don't worry, I can declare bankruptcy and hide your money. That's not the way it works. Because this is an intentional, willful tort and a court judgment, he cannot discharge this debt through bankruptcy. He can try to hide his money elsewhere, but if he does that and he does it in a fraudulent way, then he's running the risk of getting himself in more trouble. So Alex Jones's legal troubles are just beginning. This is a major blow to Alex Jones, but he's still got another trial ahead, and he's still got plenty of problems to deal with.
He certainly does. Elie Honig, thanks very much. Paul Callan, Alexandra Field, thanks to you guys as well. Coming up, we're going to get a live report from the war zone in Ukraine, and new reaction just coming in from a key White House national security official. We'll talk to John Kirby. Plus, CNN is learning new details about tomorrow's January 6th House Select Committee hearing. We'll share those with you right after a quick break.